Creators, Lilu here in beautiful Arizona. Today with Jennifer McLean. Hi.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, and nice to spend this moment as we're both actually in Sedona at the same time.
Yes.
This is wonderful.
I know.
So I love this because we definitely have something in common here.
Absolutely.
We're interviewing similar people.
Yes.
And
exploring the expansion of our consciousness.
yes.
Exploring the expansion of the consciousness of the planet.
Yeah.
And it's fun that I'm here with this co-creator in that beautiful journey. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. And we're here on this Juicy Living tour. It's a 12-month tour. Next, we're going to Hawaii and see the dolphins.
Well, maybe I'll see you there.
Can we take you on the Juicy tour?
Maybe.
Well, you have done many things. You have a very well-known, I guess, international radio show.
It's a teleseminar.
It's a teleseminar, and you have products, and you have even a book, the big book of you.
Yes.
And so you're not just a host, but you're also a teacher, a healer, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
How does this all fit? Like, what's your story? How did this unfold so that you're becoming now a healer on its own? I mean, this is quite spectacular.
Yes. So it's a great question, and it was kind of a long journey, and I always like to do a little bit of analogy and metaphor for folks as I'm talking about my own journey. And the journey is, all of us have this interesting journey. We don't know exactly where we are on our journey. So at any given point, where you are and where I was exactly where I was supposed to be, that led me to this moment here right now with you. So I started my journey in corporate America. I was in advertising and marketing, and I created my own system of marketing called credibility branding. And I wrote a book called The Credibility Factor that talked about that. And that was a really amazing time. It was a challenging time. I didn't enjoy being in corporate America very much. I didn't enjoy having bosses at all. And at the same time, I started on a healing journey. So I've been in corporate America for almost 3 decades. And then I started on a healing journey about 2 decades ago, where it was actually, I was 23 years old when I first started my spiritual journey. Shirley McLean.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And her show called Out on a Limb. That was it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing something here that is just opening my heart. So I took her book Out on a Limb and I read her entire bibliography. And that started my spiritual journey. And then several years later, I had a very bad jaw problem, a temporal mandibular problem. And so I was on the way into surgery. I basically had a 3-year headache. I had migraines 3 to 5 times a week. It was debilitating. And I was about 27, 28 at the time. And I was sitting in an office getting ready to talk to a surgeon. And I didn't really want to go that route, but I was desperate. And off of the table flew into my lap a pamphlet of an alternative way to treat TMJ. So I went and explored with this couple. One was the guy who does braces. I can't remember what that's called. The guy who does braces. What's that called? Anyway.
The dentist?
Yeah, well, kind of. So he was a dentist of sorts, and his wife was a craniosacral therapist. And so he did applied kinesiology, which is muscle testing, and she did craniosacral therapy on me. And within the first session, I had relief. Within 2 months, I was cured. So I was like, okay, I'm in. What is this stuff that they did? So I got trained as a craniosacral therapist to start with, and I went into some advanced training. And then I went into polarity, and I trained in that. And then I did some Reiki, and I got trained in that. And this is over about a 5-year period. I spent all of my free time training as a healer. And I was still working in corporate America. And I decided, well, corporate America is paying the bills, and I had a limiting belief at the time that I couldn't make money as a healer. So then for the next almost 20 years, I did healing part-time, and I worked full-time in corporate America. And I had these diametrically opposed lives. I had this one life where I talked about woo-woo stuff, and I had friends that talked about woo-woo stuff. And then I had this life in corporate America where I was inventing new business strategies. I worked in the tech industry for about 15 years. I created credibility branding, which was a system of healing that allowed not healing. It was a system of marketing, but it was a system of healing almost, because I used some of my spiritual principles within the system
Yeah.
that allowed an expansion for my clients that they didn't know about.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It was both had an impact on each other.
Absolutely.
It's not like it was really that separate.
Absolutely. So then at the same time, I was also developing my own system of healing called body dialoguing. And so I got so burnt out of corporate America. It's 2006, and I'm like, I am done. I had to quit 3 times before my company finally let me go. And there I was. I was going to be an insurance salesman. That was where I was going. And again, the lesson here for folks is what I did for myself is I had to have a path. I had to have a job. I couldn't just quit.
Yeah.
So insurance salesman was going to be my next job. That was going to pay the bills. Well, that lasted 2 weeks. I got my license and everything, and it lasted 2 weeks, and it was terrible. So then I'm like, what am I going to do now? So I applied my credibility branding system of marketing to my healing, and I thought maybe I could start my practice. It took me a while to come up with the idea. It took about 1.5 years, and I was still thinking I couldn't be a healer. I still had this limiting belief that I can't make money as a healer. And it was totally a limiting belief because it's not true.
Yeah.
I'm here to testify now.
Yeah, yes.
That is not true at all. Not even an inkling of it is true. But so it took me about 1.5 years, and I was playing still with marketing, and I was playing with the new online marketing strategies, and I was getting broker. And I was about 2 weeks away from living in my car. And I had this really huge revelation. The first thing that happened was I had no rent money every month. And yet every month the rent miraculously showed up. And so I had almost 1.5 years worth of rent that showed up miraculously. And I'm like, okay, there's something here. There's some evidence of miracles in my life. And then I got really, really down, and I was in a very dark place. And I heard something really wonderful. I heard, Jen, that which you are seeking outside of yourself is actually within you. The gift that you're looking for is you. That brass ring, there's a thing we call, the metaphor in the United States called the brass ring, and we reach outside for that brass ring all the time. And what I heard is, you are the brass ring. That brass ring isn't outside of you, you're the brass ring. And then I started hearing and receiving signs about becoming a healer, really embracing becoming a healer. And embracing what I've been doing for 20 years kind of in the closet. So it's time to come out of the closet and become a healer.
Yeah.
And so I applied my credibility branding system of healing, or system of marketing, I keep calling it healing, on my healing practice. And what showed up was Healing with the Masters. So Healing with the Masters is a point of credibility that allows me to be seen as a leader within the industry by being shoulder to shoulder with the other leaders. That's what credibility branding is.
Yeah.
So Healing with the Masters showed up. And at the same time, I was able to hire a coach that taught me how to monetize it. And it all came together, and the first day of my class with her, I totally understood what it was, what it looked like. I was able to apply my business strategies and my marketing strategies. And exactly 6 weeks later, I interviewed my first guest. And that was in the spring of 2008. So it was a really fun and interesting journey. And again, the metaphor for me is that no matter where you're at in your path, I didn't know I was going to be here when I was in the midst of corporate America. But that training brought me to this place. I didn't know I was going to be here doing healing work with thousands of people in my membership site and through Healing with the Masters when I started becoming a healer. I didn't even think that was possible. I didn't think any of this was possible.
Yeah, but yet you stepped in. I really hear that at some point, as you said, it was really seeing that you were it, you were the one, and a lot of people are struggling with that. A lot of people are thinking it's gonna, through somebody else I can live that. What would you say to somebody that really are looking, there's thousands of people looking for their life purpose, love things, and yet it's scattered, it's all over the place. There's like a commitment, I hear a commitment for life, a commitment to your greatness, that you said, this is what's going to happen now. Yeah, there was a big shift.
Big shift, and there's a couple things that you said in there that were really important. One is, what is your life purpose?
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with that, and I really truly believe that it's a very simple thing, that your life purpose is to live. That's it. My life purpose isn't necessarily to be the host of Healing with the Masters and a healer. My life purpose is to fully experience every aspect of my life to its authentic authentic, richest, and juiciest way. That's your purpose. Your purpose is to live fully, experience fully, embrace the juiciness of your life. And I know I can hear some people saying right now, I have this weird uncanny knack of hearing people in my head who are listening to the shows, and I can hear them saying, yeah, but you don't know me. I'm about to go into foreclosure. My husband just left me, and my son or my cousin or something is very ill. Right? Yeah, I know. Life challenges are showing up.
Yeah.
Life challenges are showing up. Like right now we have a plane overhead, right? Well, we could be upset by that, we could be disturbed by that, they could be disturbed by that, or we could use it.
Yeah.
We could say, boy, that's kind of bugging me a lot. Right in this moment, that noise is bugging me. And let's use it, right? So you can use the challenges that are showing up for you right now. If that plane overhead right now is bugging you, use it. What does it feel like in your body right now? Is it bugging you at all, the noise overhead?
No.
Okay,
I'm quite used to it being in Sedona now. There's the planes coming in and out all the time. So
but we can use it.
I'm really being with you right now. I'm very grateful for this moment. And this is really opening a lot for people.
Yes. So we get to use the challenges as they show up for us. And what I have discovered is that the challenges, when we move into this place of allowing, when we move into this place of noticing, when we move into this place of being okay with what's showing up, not bracing against it. You know, I call it bracing energy. So many of us go, I want this. I desire this.
Yeah.
Right? And instead, it's like, this is what I desire. Like, open. Like, even physically right now, open your chest, drop your shoulder blades down your back, and claim who you are. I want this. And then allow yourself to feel everything about that. Feel the dissonance within that, and feel the beautiful, heartfelt opening within that. It's like, wow, yeah, I want this. Ooh,
Even though if we don't know what it looks like.
Exactly.
This as greatness, as magic.
Yes, exactly. Especially if we don't know what it looks like. And so what do? We create what it looks like for ourselves. And that's part of what body dialoguing is it helps you to go inside and discover the aspects of your being. The dissonance mostly is where you start with. You start with the dissonance, and then you move into, so there's a moment of dissonance.
Yeah, there's a little bee playing with my eyes.
And so we have the opportunity to, again, use all of these moments, right? And so there's a moment of dissonance, and we go, okay, ooh, that doesn't feel good. Where are you feeling that in your body? Where do you feel that in your body? So if there's something going on in your life that's upsetting, where do you feel that in your body? You bring your attention to that aspect of your being, and you say to that aspect, I see you. I see you. And you say to that aspect, I'm present with you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to listen. I'm really going to listen to you. I'm present. I'm here. I'm now. I'm listening. And then that aspect of your being kind of lights up and says, oh, you're listening. I'm going to show you a few things now. And then you can say things like, well, what's this about? Where did this come from? And most of the time it's a childhood trauma. There's an event that occurred in childhood that got held in the body. And the body is this wonderful place of holding. It holds on to things until we're ready, until we have the strength and the power, the wherewithal and the authenticity to deal with things, to manage it, to listen to it, to allow it to be heard. And so if it's showing up in your life right now, I'm here to tell you right now that you're ready. You're ready. I know you're ready because it's showing up. If there's some upset in your life, it's showing up because you're ready. So we go in, we ask it, what's it about? And then we can say, oh yeah, it was that thing that happened. I remember now. And don't have to go into it. Strongly recommend not diving in. It's not necessary. In the 80s, we used to dive in and re-traumatize ourselves. We don't have to do that anymore. We just look at it as if it's a movie and go, okay, it's that. Then we say to that aspect of our being, what is it that you need? What do you need now? And it's not a neediness thing. It's the soul's yearning kind of thing. It's the God quality kind of thing. So the God quality usually says, I need acknowledgement, I need love, I need a hug, I need support, I need safety. Those are the words that usually show up. And then you say, oh, okay, I need love around this. I need love around this. So then the next thing is, what does it feel like to experience that love?
Yes.
And that's where we're starting to recreate. That's where we're starting to get the feeling sense of what it is that we want.
A lot of us hold on to that to that guilt, to that pain, to those old feelings. Like they're so part of us, you know, and it keeps on showing up, even though those beautiful things, it's still there. So you're saying through the body, this is the best way to kind of break through it and then start to love those aspects of ourselves to then...
You said that beautifully. It's so cool that you just said that, because you said start to love those aspects. That's what it's about. And I love that you went there, because so many people say get rid of. So many people say obstacle and blockage. It's not true. That's not what we're talking about here. It's just an aspect of your being that got held. It's held. Now think of the word held. It's held in love. It's held in this, I used to describe it, I talk about this in the Big Book of You. It's held in like a little acorn. And the little acorn contains the thought and belief that got stuck, the kind of dysfunctional thought and belief that got stuck. And so it's both holding it in a loving way, and it's protecting you from it. Okay, so we have this moment, the event that happened. Something traumatizing happened in childhood. And so that event got held. The beliefs and thoughts that fell out of that, the confusing beliefs and thoughts that fell out of that, get held. Now those confusing beliefs and thoughts now show up in our life. It's like that container is now a little boulder in the flow of our energy. And so the energy now has to flow around it and is influenced by it. So when that emotion and belief goes through that kind of walnut, it actually shows up as a manifestation of that in our life. So now we are coming from a place of, I'm not safe, right? We come from a place of, they don't like me, I'm not good enough, all because of that event that occurred that is still being held in our energy. Now, what happens is, we have these patterns that show up over and over and over again and layer over top, because it's a belief. So the belief shows up as a resonant energy in the world, and the belief gets patterned and patterned and patterned and patterned. And then we reach a point where we're going, wait a minute. And that's where pretty much most of the world is in a place of, wait a minute, I don't have to live this way anymore. I have a choice. I have a choice now. And body dialogue allows you then to go inside and have a loving, beautiful dialogue, a loving, beautiful conversation with that aspect of your being that's ready to be proven different, that's ready to be transformed and transmuted. Now Einstein talked about energy. Energy never goes away, it just transforms. So that's why we don't get rid of things. We love them into consciousness. And when it's in consciousness, then we become a place of allowing. And what I found is that what shows up in your life is this place of grace. So life doesn't stop showing up. Life, the pain of life, the challenges of life, they don't stop showing up. It's not all of a sudden like we're going to live in these little bliss babies, as Maureen Moss calls it. We're not going to be little bliss babies. That's not what this incarnation is about. This incarnation is about exploring, expanding, and flowing through the interesting and juicy adventures that show up in our life. So when we are in a place of challenge, when we find these places of grace through clearing, through transitioning, through transmitting, and the bird is agreeing with us. You know, the bird has come to offer some sound vibration that's really allowing us to break up this old pattern and this old thought. That we now find many moments of grace through tragedy. You know, I've had a pretty challenging year this year. My uncle passed away, who I adored and loved and was very close to. Suddenly, my father almost passed away, but he's now in long-term recovery. These things have shown up, and yet, I still have such love in my heart. It's like there's these two sides of a coin. On the one side is the life and the human emotions and the moments of dissonance that happens. I use dissonance because I do sound vibration. And then on the flip side is the and. It's not a but, it's the and. And we are beings of divine love. And we have choice in every moment to move through those life adventures with grace and love and joy. And there are wonderful, wonderful techniques, processes, practices that will allow you to do this. Body dialogue is just one. There's Byron Katie's The Work. I know you've talked
Katie
to her.
Is amazing.
There's EFT, which is wonderful. There's literally hundreds of techniques that you can use to help release these old patterns. But
of unworthiness, because
Yes.
as Oprah said in her failure, in her last show, you know,
Yes.
it's really all comes down to we had this feeling of unworthiness.
Yes.
Whether they're stuck inside or we have it in our emotional or spiritual, but it's all there.
Yes, and I am here to tell you, I'm going to get emotional. I am here to tell you that you are a gift. That you are a gift. And I can see your light. I can see the light of the people that are listening and watching this right now. And if you could see what I can see, you would never, ever, ever go into that space of thinking that you're not good enough, not worthy, because there's nothing more worthy on this planet than the gift that is you. Nothing. Every single one of us have this amazing contribution to make. And whether that contribution is simply doing the work, what I call play, of the spiritual path and having a daily practice, that's a contribution. Because when you shift, the world shifts. You know, the violence that is in the world is the violence that's still within ourselves. And when we shift that violence within, the violence in the world shifts. So whether you're a mom or whether you're doing a teleseminar series or whether you're a nurse, all completely valid. Your gifts are so unbelievably important.
So what kind of healer do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
What kind of healer? No, not like that. What kind of healer do you think you are? Like, what is? Because it feels to me like it's a new level of healing.
Oh, interesting.
It's something different that what I've heard before.
Yes, there is a new energetic capacity that all of us on this planet are now able to tap into, and I think there's a new leader emerging as a result. And it has to do with being super authentic, living your path out loud, you know, for real, and talking about, I think the leaders that are going to be moving into the next generation of spiritual leadership are those who are willing to expose their dark aspects, expose the both the light and the dark of their lives. And I think that that's in part what body dialoguing is about, exploring the dark. That's what the Big Book of You is about. It's about the light and the dark of life. That without the darkness, there is no light. And so for me, the maybe lower vibrating emotions, like envy and upset and anger, and
those are emotions you feel?
Everyone feels
let's
them.
Let's talk about you.
Yes. So
we want to hear the deep, intimate side of Jennifer McLean. We want to go there because you're an amazing leader.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And so are you.
Thank you.
And you know, it takes one to know one, right? We get to see. We get to see.
Yes. And we all have those dark aspects.
There's no doubt about it. There's no one that doesn't, that's alive on the planet right now. And I think the opportunity is to go deep and explore them, to use those lower vibrating emotions as almost breadcrumbs into the soul.
Yeah.
Because those lower vibrating emotions, if you go inside and say, I'm really freaking angry. Okay, so mine's anger. I've been playing with anger my whole life, and I still continue to play with anger.
Yeah.
I had a temper tantrum before you got here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that's what I get to explore. And at the same time, I don't have to make myself wrong anymore for having a temper tantrum. I used to a lot.
Yeah.
I also had a lot more. Now I have moments, I would probably call them more moments of frustration.
Yeah.
And now I get to use it and say, you know, sometimes I think you have to be somewhat vigilant about this stuff. You know, use the moment, every moment. At the same time, sometimes you can just say, I'm so freaking angry.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is happening. That's the word that comes out. And then afterwards it's like, I can because it did. So, you know.
So then you surrender? What happens in that moment when you see it?
Yeah, you surrender to it. You just surrender to it. You allow the feelings, allow them. It's like, I am just angry right now and that's it. Or, I am really angry right now. What does it feel like in my body right now? Oh yeah, there's that one. Yep. What is it you need, beautiful aspect? What is it that you need? And it's like, I just need some softness and space. That's what I'm hearing right in this moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. What does softness and space look like? What does that look like and feel like? So what does softness and space look like?
Feels like a cloud.
Yes. Ah, there it is. And so there it is. The anger's gone. And it's been transformed into what my soul is yearning for. So every dark emotion is just giving you a path to access what your soul is yearning for in its opposite. There's a beautiful little hummingbird that showed up. Hummingbird is joy. So there's these beautiful moments of synchronicity that can show up in your life at the same time as you're exploring this.
Is that when you were doing that suddenly those angelic voice came out of you?
Well,
is it part of that healing journey?
I think there are so many aspects of our being. And when we acknowledge each of them, the joyful ones and the loved ones and the challenging ones. And I also want to do a caveat. I'm just being nudged by my guides to do a little caveat right now, which is we also don't have to only do the negative ones. We can actually have many, and most people who are really on a spiritual path, they forget to celebrate the joyful moments, to celebrate the moments of love. So when you're feeling your heart open, stop.
Enjoy
it.
No.
But seriously, celebrate those moments.
Yes.
Because those are the moments that allow the blueprint, the energetic signature of that to even expand more. So when you're working out in a gym, you use resistance training, right? It's the same idea here. Use the resistance in your life as the training to allow you to go deeper and to expand even brighter, even more. But yes, there's a whole new system of healing, I believe, that is really
and those angelic
doing that.
voice too are part of it. You're not going to get away from it. I want Jennifer to sing here.
You want me to sing?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell us about how this came about, and then let's hear that angelic voice.
It came in. I do my best work in the bathtub, and so most of us do. And you know why? Because most of us aren't thinking in the bathtub. It's our one moment of not thinking, and then ideas come. Same with driving. So just imagine if you could quiet your mind a lot of the time, all the inspirations that would come through. So this was one, and I used to sing in the choir, and then I met John Ballou, who was a sound vibration specialist, and he used tuning forks. And I'm like, gee, I wonder if I could just use my voice. So in the tub, I started doing toning, and I was like getting these expansions and these letting go, and I could feel the sound moving in and releasing old aspects that were no longer needed, old dense resonant energy that's no longer needed, and it just goes in and breaks it up at this foundational level. I haven't done a lot of research about sound vibration. I just kind of wanted to keep it pure. I didn't want to go into all the scientific because it felt so sweet and innocent. So I decided to not do a lot of research on it. So I don't have a lot of research. It's mostly intuitive.
Yeah.
And what I do is I
feel that is as valid as scientific.
I think science is incredibly important because it allows the mind to grasp something, and which releases the heart. But in this instance, I have none. But there's lots and lots of scientific proof about sound vibration healing. And
that this universe is made of sound.
Yeah, there's no question. I've had visions now about how the pyramids were made. Since I started doing all the sound stuff, what happens is it changes your qualities of strength, endurance, and so muscle testing will prove that a before and after with sound vibration. And so if it makes someone stronger and have more endurance, just imagine there's two levels of sound vibration that I was shown. One is it actually raises rocks and moves them. And the other aspect is it raises the vibration of the individual so that they're stronger to manage big boulders and rocks. So that's the vision. So I have no scientific proof for that. That's kind of woo-woo stuff. But what I do know is that when we do a process, as we just did with some body dialoguing, when you use sound vibration at the end, it kind of takes the weave of the new foundation and tightens it. So that's what my experience of sound vibration does. And it also goes in and clears. So I'd be happy to do a soul song.
Let's do it.
What would you like? Do you have a specific topic that you would like? I do a soul song usually based on a theme.
A theme?
Yeah.
How about the juiciness of life?
Okay, a juiciness of life soul song. And so you can listen to this over and over and over again whenever you want. There's so much wildlife around here. We've got birds and hummingbirds and dragonflies, and so they're all going to be contributing. I'm going to ask them to show me. And what I do is I go to the juiciness of life. I go to that essence of that, and it starts singing to me in my head, and the notes come through.
Juicy. Whoa.
Yeah, it kind of felt like it showed that a juicy life includes the lower tones, the slower times, the kind of moments of contraction and compression, as well as the moments of expansion.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love how all aspects right now are coming together for you. You know, the marketing and the healing and the sound.
Yeah.
It's just incredible how everything in our life is
Isn't
handy and useful at some point when it all comes together
When it all
for a
comes
life
together,
purpose. It's like, boom,
absolutely.
of course
And
I
we
had to
don't
do
know.
this before.
Yes, and we don't know when that actual moment of expression will show up. Your life purpose is to live every moment until that moment of expansion expression shows up. That's it. And so,
Well said.
who knows? And there's probably going to be more expansions and expressions as I get older.
Can't wait for that CD to come out. I can see it.
Yes. Well, there's Sonia Choquette on Healing with the Masters. For 3 seasons now, Sonia has been nudging me to do a CD with words. That's one of my few still phobias, is to sing in public with lyrics and words. So we'll see when that's gonna. I'll get to play with that a little bit longer. Soul songs I can do, but when I have to sing a song that someone else has written with lyrics and words,
Yeah, maybe that's not your path.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe
not.
your path is just to do soul songs.
Maybe.
That's wonderful to meditate. I could totally meditate on that every morning and just listen to it and be carried by that angelic, voices and choose a track.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's start the day singing and
I do
opening
have-
this heart chakra. I mean, what a better way to open the heart chakra.
You know what? It's funny. I actually do have a chakra package where I have a soul song for every chakra.
Oh, nice.
And I recommend that people, there's one CD for each chakra, and it also has a body dialogue for each chakra. And then the soul song has behind it a prayer that is all the God qualities of that particular chakra.
Nice.
So that is a product that
It's
I
already
have.
there. Good. Wonderful. Well, thank you for this delicious moment, this
Thank you.
juicy moment. Wasn't that awesome?
Thank you, and thank you for your juiciness.
Thank you.
Thank you for following your passion and bringing all of these important voices into the world through your video and through your amazing energy.
Thank you. Thank you. Much love, my beautiful co-creators. Mwah!
Bosses at all. And at the same time, I started on a healing journey. So I've been in corporate America for almost 3 decades, and then I started on a healing journey about 2 decades ago, where it was actually, I was 23 years old when I first started my spiritual journey. Shirley McLean.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And her show called Out on a Limb. That was it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing something here that is just opening my heart. So I took her book Out on a Limb and I read her entire bibliography. And that started my spiritual journey. And then several years later, I had a very bad jaw problem, a temporal mandibular problem. And so I was on the way into surgery. I basically had a 3-year headache. I had migraines 3 to 5 times a week.
Oh,
it was debilitating. And I was about 27, 28 at the time. And I was sitting in an office getting ready to talk to a surgeon. And I didn't really want to go that route, but I was desperate. And I had a limiting belief at the time that I couldn't make money as a healer. So then for the next almost 20 years, I did healing part-time and I worked full-time in corporate America. And I had these diametrically opposed lives. I had this one life where I talked about woo-woo stuff, and I had friends that talked about woo-woo stuff. And then I had this life in corporate America where I was inventing new business strategies. I worked in the tech industry for about 15 years. I created credibility branding, which was a system of healing that allowed not healing, it was a system of marketing, but it was a system of healing almost, because I used some of my spiritual principles within the system that allowed an expansion for my clients that they didn't know about.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It was both had an impact on each other.
Absolutely.
It's not like it was really that separate.
Absolutely. So then at the same time, I was also developing my own system of healing called body dialoguing. And so I got so burnt out of corporate America. It's 2006, and I'm like, I am done. I had to quit 3 times before my company finally let me go. And there,
Big book of you.
yes.
And so you're not just a host, but you're also a teacher, a healer, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
How does this all fit? Like, what's your story? How did this unfold so that you're becoming now a healer on its own? I mean, this is quite spectacular.
Yes. So it's a great question, and it was kind of a long journey, and I always like to do a little bit of analogy and metaphor for folks as I'm talking about my own journey. And the journey is, all of us have this interesting journey. We don't know exactly where we are on our journey. So at any given point, where you are and where I was exactly where I was supposed to be, that led me to this moment here right now with you. So I started my journey in corporate America. I was in advertising and marketing, and I created my own system of marketing called credibility branding. And I wrote a book called The Credibility Factor that talked about that. And that was a really amazing time. It was a challenging time. I didn't enjoy being in corporate America very much. I didn't enjoy having, and off of the table flew into my lap a pamphlet of an alternative way to treat TMJ. So I went and explored with this couple. One was the guy who does braces. I can't remember what that's called. The guy who does braces. What's that called? Anyway.
The dentist?
Yeah, well, kind of. So he was a dentist of sorts, and his wife was a craniosacral therapist. And so he did applied kinesiology, which is muscle testing, and she did craniosacral therapy on me. And within the first session, I had relief. Within 2 months, I was cured. So I was like, okay, I'm in. What is this stuff
Yeah.
that they did?
Yeah.
So I got trained as a craniosacral therapist to start with, and I went into some advanced training. And then I went into polarity, and I trained in that. And then I did some Reiki, and I got trained in that. And this is over about a 5-year period. I spent all of my free time training as a healer. And I was still working in corporate America. And I decided, well, corporate America is paying the bill.
Creators, Lilu here in beautiful Arizona. Today was Jennifer McLean. Hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, and nice to spend this moment as we're both actually in Sedona at the same time.
Yes.
This is wonderful.
I know.
So I love this because we definitely have something in common here.
Absolutely.
We're interviewing similar people.
Yes.
And
Exploring the expansion of our consciousness.
yes.
Exploring the expansion of the consciousness of the planet.
Yeah.
And it's fun that I'm here with this co-creator in that beautiful journey. So thank you.
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. And we're here on this Juicy Living tour. It's a 12-month tour. Next, we're going to Hawaii and see the dolphins.
Well, maybe I'll see you there.
Can we take you on the Juicy tour?
Maybe.
Well, you have done many things. You have a very well-known, I guess, international radio show.
It's a teleseminar.
It's a teleseminar, and you have products, and you have even a book.